Although in D.C. we've got these wonderful pro-life bills that are being argued and hopefully will be passed. Sadly, in California, the California State Senate is about to vote on Senate Bill 320, Senate Bill SB 320. I'm not going to tell anybody how to vote, but I'd say no, if you ask me. So this will require all health centers in the University of California system, as well as the California state system, to stock the RU486 abortion pill and then be dispensing them. So obviously we don't want this going on our campuses. We don't want our centers of learning to become centers of killing. And it's also a hugely unsafe for women, for girls, for our college-age students. So we want to protect them. So please get involved, get online. They're going to start voting on it in the end of January, and be a voice for that. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who is really the author of, he was the one that peddled the the pro-abortion, the whole idea of it being a woman's choice, to the women's movement prior to his conversion. So our next speaker, Terry Beatley of Hosea Initiative, promised Joe, sorry Joe, promised Dr. Nathanson that she would continue that work, and she'd let everybody know how this came to be and expose the lies that we've been told for 45 years now. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Terry up here, and please give her a nice round of applause.
All right, I want to get your picture, so hold your signs up. If you think abortion can be outlawed in America, let me hear you. Woo! All right, hold them up high. Now I'm going to take a short video. I want to hear you loud and clear. Go. Can abortion be outlawed? Yes! Woo! That's awesome. All right, thank you. Yes, I had a rare opportunity to interview back in 2009 a man by the name of Dr. Bernard Nathanson. Now, don't feel bad if you don't know who he is, because the vast majority of Americans do not know who Dr. Bernard Nathanson is. So by the time I'm done in about 9 minutes, you'll know more than most Americans out there about Dr. Nathanson. Okay, he was no ordinary doctor. He was the father of the modern day industry of abortion. He was known as the abortion king, and he was the medical face of abortion back in the late 60s and early 70s. Have you ever heard of that organization called NARAL Pro-Choice America? Yeah, he founded NARAL Pro-Choice America back in the late 60s. He also implored Planned Parenthood to get into the industry of abortion, but you know what they told him at first? No. That's right, Planned Parenthood told Dr. Nathanson no. But after Dr. Nathanson and his team flipped that New York law, overturning a 140-year-old law that protected babies in the womb, and Planned Parenthood saw all the money they had left on the gynecology table, who do you think they called to train their doctors? Dr. Bernard Nathanson, that's right. So he's not just another abortionist. He's the father of the abortion industry, but he left us something, the keys for victory. Just a short time after celebrating the Roe v. Wade decision and being personally responsible for the death of 75,000 babies, including 2 of his own, Dr. Nathanson was working at a hospital, and they rolled in a brand new technology called real-time ultrasound. And the father of America's industry of abortion, who co-founded NARAL, recognized the humanity of the baby in the womb. He saw on real-time ultrasound, it was a brand new technology. And he saw that baby smiling and wiggling her toes, and he could see her heartbeat, which was like amazing to him. And he knew immediately he had made a tragic mistake, unleashing the abortion monster onto America. When I met him that day, he was 83 years old, terminally ill with cancer, and he deeply grieved deceiving so many men and women, legislators, clergy, mothers, fathers. And he said, Terry, the bomb was ultrasound. It made everything come alive. Well, he resigned 2 years later from NARAL, 1975. And I have his never seen before resignation letter, and I'm just going to read the little excerpt at the end. He said this. He said, the judgments of the Supreme Court were never meant to be infallible or eternal. And what if we've been wrong? What an incalculable injustice will have been perpetrated. What an immeasurable, irretrievable loss will have happened. The annual dues to NARAL are $10 a year, and the hubris, the arrogance of certainty. I can no longer afford those dues, and he resigned. That is part of the story that every American needs to know, that the guy who trained Planned Parenthood and started NARAL, he said, game over. All right, by 1979, the founder of NARAL had become 100% pro-life and the abortion industry's greatest opponent. He died, though, in 2011. I can only imagine how NARAL and Planned Parenthood celebrated his death, because this is why. He called himself the keeper of the abortion industry keys. He knew that to know his legacy, to unlock his story, is to unlock this demonic stronghold that's holding the United States of America captive. And what I like to say is, to know his legacy, it can change hearts and minds with the power of love and truth. It can lead so many broken men and women to the foot of the cross and for reconciliation. To know his story is the ultimate destruction of Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry. And we're going to resurrect his story. I'm not stopping till the job is done. Woo. What the industry leaders do not know was, at the end of that interview, I didn't go to New York for this. I only went because God told me to go interview him. I wasn't there for anything other than to interview him because God told me to. At the end of the interview, I felt such compassion for this old dying man sitting in this small apartment in Manhattan, New York. And I said, Dr. Nathanson, if you have a message for America, if you do, if you tell me what it is, I promise you I'll deliver it across our country until it becomes common knowledge, or until Roe v. Wade is overturned, whichever one comes first. I had no idea what Dr. Nathanson would say, but he said yes. He was very frail, so as I tell you this, he didn't say it with this strength and passion. He was very sick. But he said, continue teaching the strategy. It's an 8-point strategy of how he deceived America. And then he said, tell America that the co-founder of NARAL says to love one another. Abortion's not love. Stop the killing. The world needs more love. And I'm all about love now. Isn't that the most beautiful pro-life message? Woo! I mean, Dr. Nathanson used the words of Jesus Christ. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to love you with the truth. Because I promised him I'd deliver that message and I'd teach you real quick the 8-point propaganda campaign. Now, I know you're not going to remember all the points, but you look me up and make sure you get the information. But here we go, real quick. The 8 points, which have killed 60 million American babies. Number one, he framed the debate around choice. It's just nothing but a choice. Like going and picking out orange juice. Do you want it with pulp, no pulp, calcium? It's just a choice. They didn't come out and say the choice to kill a child. Then he came up with they used the complicit media. Dr. Nathanson, OBGYN, if you were the reporters, he could tell you anything. And you would never research what he would tell you. And you'd go and you'd report it as if it was rock solid facts. Then he crafted the jingles that we're so used to today. My body, my choice, every child a wanted child, all that hogwash stuff. They paid a PR firm $7,500 to develop what I'm sharing with you today. He quoted false statistics, and he said, 1 million women are dying every year, and 1 million women are having illegal abortions, and 10,000 women are dying every year. That was a bald-faced lie. He said that there are only 100,000 illegal abortions, and there were about 200 women dying every year, not 10,000. Then he made up the false statistics. He said that 60% of Americans want abortion on demand. The real number, folks, was 1/2%. I said, Dr. Nathanson, where did you get that statistic? And he said, Terry, I pulled it out of thin air. Me and my NARAL board of directors, we just knew we had to get it above 50% to deceive America. And then he repeated the lies, and we all know if you repeat the lies long enough in the news, it becomes the marketed truth, even though it's a lie. Last two, he justified decriminalizing abortion. He would say, look, the women are going to do it anyway, but we all know if you legalize something, you increase the demand. And lastly, and I wish I had the time to go into the great details, but it's the Catholic strategy. As a Catholic woman who's celebrating the 50th anniversary of Humana Vitae. Woo! 50th anniversary this year. Was that a prophetic document or what? I mean, wow. Okay, and the fact that the Catholic Church's magisterium is unwavering its defense for the unborn, identifying it, by the way, as an intrinsic evil. Nothing good comes from abortion. I must share NARAL's stealthy, deadly, and effective political strategy to deceive American Catholics. I don't have the time to get into the details, but it's a 4-part strategy they used to deceive many, many American Catholics. And I'm not here to shame anybody over that. It was deception. So, going forward, I'm going to close with Dr. Nathanson's, one of the quotes from one of his books, and this is it. So I've just told you the 8 tactics. These are odious tactics, and this is what he said. I believe the abortion ethic is fatally and forever flawed by the immorality of the means of its victory. A political victory achieved by such odious tactics should compel those who are uneasy with permissive abortion to re-examine the issue. I, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, believe that in America, which allows a junta of moral thugs to foist an evil of incalculable dimensions upon it and just allows that evil to flower, creates for itself a deadly legacy, a millennium of shame. But are we going to allow that millennium of shame to continue? No. That's right. I want to hear you louder than that. No. Now that's awesome. Okay. All right. So lastly, here's my prayer. I pray that if God's people who are called by his name will just humble themselves. You know, it's humility. You know, I got it wrong, you know. Just humble themselves and pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways. What's going to happen? God will hear from heaven. He's going to forgive our sins and what? Heal our nation. Let's hear it. Heal our nation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.